You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, where it's GNP Year 3, my goodness, another special Hump Day edition episode. And heck, even Women's Empowerment Day, if I'm not mistaken, as told by my guest when I threw my usual line of Camel Appreciation Day. But my goodness, in all of the world of time management, even though that's a phrase that needs to be archaic now, there's only 3 books I recommend to people: Win the Hour, Win the Day, Indistractable, and the author behind this fabulous book right here, because she published one of my favorite books of 2019. And with us today is Maura Nevel Thomas, an expert in productivity and work-life balance and a pioneer in the concept of attention management. You heard that right, folks, attention management, which she calls the new path to productivity. And you may have seen Maura's work before in Forbes, TEDx, Harvard Business Review, and or one of her 3 books. She's also great at pretending to exercise, and she much prefers TV shows, movies, and books that have a happy ending. Hello, Maura. Thanks a bunch for joining us. How you feeling?
Dom, feeling good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed. It's an honor to reach out to folks who publish some great work, because to be honest, whenever time comes up, I usually mention attention management, and it's so true because, like, how did that even come to mind? Like, attention management, like that's like genius. Seriously.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been studying productivity for my whole professional career. And about 10 years ago, I just, everybody always talks about time management as how you get more productive. And about 10 years ago, I started thinking about that phrase, and it's just started to bug me because we can't manage time. And then I started to ask people, what does it mean to you to manage time? And they said, well, I make appointments with myself on my calendar. And then it's like, okay, well, that's great, but who's the first person you break an appointment with? Yourself, right? So we can't manage time, and even when we try, it doesn't work very well. And even if we do set that appointment for ourselves on our calendar, it doesn't matter unless we also manage our attention. And so it just started to hit me that our biggest problem is not that we don't have enough time. We get the same 24 hours everybody gets. Our biggest problem is that we have too much distraction, and you can't solve a distraction problem with a time management solution. The antidote to distraction is attention. And so that hit me about 10 years ago, and I started writing about it on my blog, and everything just sort of took off from there.
There you go, like a big old rocket ship. Like, did 13-year-old Maura see herself where she is today? Because that's not every day where it's like, I'm going to grow up and be a time management expert and be in Harvard's Business Review, another top grade article of 2015. Like, was that really in your head at the time?
Thank you. Definitely not. I'm pretty sure 13, I don't know, 13, I might have been out of my astronaut phase and into my firefighter phase. I'm not sure. Or maybe it was corner office corporate boss phase. I'm not really sure, but it definitely was this.
Hey, that's freaking cool, because astronaut, publicity wise, to the moon, metaphorically firefighter, helping folks get out of the putting out fires phase, and corner office, well, I guess home office now.
Absolutely. I decided that being my own boss was definitely the kind of corner office I wanted.
There you go. So since you're one of the kick-arse fempreneurs out there that's really moving, shaking, and making things happen, like, what's probably been the main thing that's been able to keep you going? Because, like, with all the expertise you have and being in such high demand, like, how do you really stay on top of it all and stay confident through all this?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I like my work. I like the opportunity I get to help people and make them feel less exhausted. But let's face it, I also have a trouble with this, like, find your passion advice, because, you know, oh, if you do what you love, then you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's bull. Because no matter what you love to do, as soon as it becomes your job, it automatically becomes less fun. Like when you have to do it, it's a whole different experience than when you're just doing it as a hobby or just doing it sometimes. So definitely important to like your job, and I do. I also think that I just sort of moderate, right? When it comes down to it, it's not really going to matter very much if you work 40 hours or this week, or 45 hours, or 50 hours, or 55 hours, right? The only thing that's going to matter is you're going to feel more exhausted and more burned out, and probably like your job less. And so I just really try to walk my talk and work hard and to keep going, but to make sure that I moderate and have balance.
Ah, there you go. That's pretty interesting because I feel like balance is kind of a myth now with this whole darn COVID that's hit everybody. It's like the whole work-life balance thing has really become work-life integration. So how's that been with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think semantics matter, right? So I think we need to figure out what we mean when we say work-life balance. And I think that work-life balance shouldn't turn into I mean, I think work-life integration is one thing. Work-life integration means that if you need, like in the middle of your workday, to go, you know, take your kid to the doctor, and you can check emails from the doctor's office, that's kind of work-life integration, and that's cool. And that's handy, and technology makes it easy for us to do that, and that's awesome. But I also think that we shouldn't substitute work-life integration for work-life balance. We still need work-life balance. And work-life balance means, to me, do other things besides work and have a reasonable amount of work, and balance your life with hobbies and personal time and self-care and friends and family and things that nourish you in other ways. And the truth is, when we do all of those other things, we actually get better at our jobs.
Ah, so true. Yes, indeed. It's so true, especially the whole life outside of work, because that's really where I feel like a lot of things happen. Heck, even in my own personal life, I've learned that firsthand how really the personal shows up in the professional. And if you're not careful and you don't actually balance work and play and still have some playtime for yourself and keep some hobbies up and to really keep yourself really in that peak performance state. So darn true right there. So darn true.
Absolutely. Doing other things really fosters our creativity. And for knowledge workers, especially, our creativity is super important. So, reading books and seeing movies and traveling when we can do that again, and having hobbies and talking to people and reading new other things, all of those things feed our creativity and make us better at our jobs.
Ah, yes, indeed. And speaking of creativity, one of our fabulous listeners, Victoria Winard, she's a fabulous lady who likes to be creative. And she actually had a question about like your favorite type of binaural beat, since that was mentioned in the book. And when I looked to see where the heck that was in the book, I'm like, God dang, like that slid right past. Like you can't really, it wasn't really in your face. So like, oh, okay, so that was a really deep question. And it shows she really read your fabulous book. So out of curiosity, does Maura have any personal binaural beats or specific music or creativity pieces to boost your creativity?
Yeah. My favorite, I switch. I really like water sounds, waves crashing and streams gurgling. I really like the sound of water. I find it very calming. I also really like opera, especially male opera. Female opera, not so much. No offense to the women, but male opera voices, I really enjoy. And classical music, I find to be all of those things. I find really put me in the zone to work.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. There we go. Any specific artist you recommend, or just all whatever pops up in the YouTube feed or the Spotify feed or anything?
Um, Andrea Bocelli is probably my favorite opera singer. His voice gives me goosebumps. I think he's amazing. And it creates a really nice background sound and helps me get really deep into work. Because actually, our favorite music, a lot of people like to listen to your favorite music that you know all the words to when you're working. And
Yep.
in fact, that's really distracting because you start to sing along and the songs bring back memories. And then you start to go down that road of like, oh, remember when this song came out? And then, like, before you know it, you're down this whole rabbit trail of thoughts. So, listening to sound can be good when you're working, but not your favorite music.
So true. Heck, even that's even one of the reasons why sometimes I listen to like Japanese anime opening theme musics because I can't understand a word they're saying, so it won't even impact anything else. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. I tried listening to movie scores for a while because I figured they're instrumental and they don't have any words, but I found it make me think of the movie. And so then that was super distracting. So yeah, I couldn't do that.
Felt like Wonder Woman again, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes.
Well, I guess in this case it's Mighty Maura.
Wonder Woman was one of my most favorite Halloween costumes when I was a little kid. Wonder Woman, and now I'm totally going to date myself, but if there are any other Gen Xers out there, Isis.
Oh,
Isis
okay.
it's probably before your time. Okay, now I'm old. Let's move on.
Far from old, trust me. You know, I'll tell you 75 collecting Social Security.
Oh, careful. I'm sure there's some people in that age group listening. They're not, you're
Yeah.
only as old as you feel, right?
Oh, there we go. Even better and not butter. So since this is far from your metaphorical first ever rodeo, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often since a lot of people tend to scratch the surface but don't go too far deeper into certain areas?
I have been fortunate to be on some really great podcasts and have had some really awesome conversations. And I mean, I think the message that I most want to get out with my work is that, attention management to me is an antidote to distraction. And distraction is one of those things that makes us feel really frazzled and flustered, and it leads to burnout and exhaustion and all of the, so the message that I hope to spread with my work, and especially with attention management and the idea of attention management, is that we have the power to choose, right? Attention management is all about putting you back in the driver's seat because, at least in theory, attention is something that we can manage, our own attention, right? Where time just marches on no matter what we do, right? I am a control freak, I will admit it. But
Okay.
but I also know that there are many things in this world that I can't control. But I don't think that my own attention should be one of those things. And so the message is really one of empowerment. You can choose if you feel frazzled and exhausted and overworked and overwhelmed. And you can choose how many hours you work in a week. And you can choose if you allow work to take over your personal time and if you get out of balance. And yes, other people have expectations on us, but that doesn't mean that we need to conform to those expectations. Imagine what our lives would be like if we really had to conform to everyone else's expectations of us, right? We know that that's not true. And yet people say to me, but I have to check my email all the time because people expect an answer right away. Well, people expect a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that they're going to get it, right? So empowerment is the message.
I love it. Empowerment is definitely the message, and it's so what a lot of folks need, especially from the time aspect and really just knowing where your attention should go. So definitely love that indeed. So that's right. Helping folks get that metaphorical six pack to realize that they too can make sure their attention goes in the right direction. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Woohoo! Well, all righty. Coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and in your case, is going to be extra special. So, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 21 again, but this time in the current year of 2020, with all of your knowledge and experience, and there was no pandemic, what advice would you give to yourself?
Back to that empowerment idea. Um, I mentor a lot of young women, and one of the things that I try to sort of instill in them or help them to believe is that we can take control of our own careers and we can depend on ourselves, right? There are a lot of people, I think this message is starting to change, but for people my age, we grew up with the get a job, work your way up, get good benefits, and that's really what matters. And I really think that the only people that we can depend on are ourselves, and we need to take responsibility for our careers. That for some people that means entrepreneurship, but you can have a job and still take responsibility for your career and your reputation, and just make sure that your fate is in your own hands to the extent that you can. And there's so many resources to learn how to do that if you're stuck. So that's the advice I would give to my 25-year-old self.
Ah, sweet. That's right. The power's in your hands, y'all. That's right. The power's in your hands. Two of them. Heck, even one of them, if it's only one of them, you still have the power. It may not be the power of Grayskull, but it's definitely the power. Yeah, yeah. A corn cob is going to come out eventually. So for any, so for those who want to keep in touch with the Mighty Maura, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you?
Yeah, there's so many free resources available on my website at maurathomas.com. Probably the best place to get started is to assess your own attention management skills. You can take that assessment at maurathomas.com/assessment. That's a good place to start.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. MauraThomas.com/assessments. Take that assessment. Change your life for the better and not butter, folks. Go ahead and take that assessment. Pick up a copy of the book. Pick up 5,000 copies if you want. It's a fabulous book. One of my favorite books of 2019 and counting. So
I'm
make
not,
sure.
I'm not, I'm not sure we actually even said the title of the book, Dom. It's called Attention Management: How to Create Success and Gain Productivity Every Day. Oh, and the audio version just came out. So now you can get it. The hardcover is amazing. It's small. It makes a great gift. It's got lots of pictures, colors, thick pages. It's a joy to hold. But for those of you who don't like physical books, the audiobook is out, and certainly the Kindle version is available as well.
Sweet. And you're reading it, right?
I'm reading it. I wrote it.
Good. All right. Good. 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 I know some people outsource their books to be read by somebody else. Like, no, don't do it.
Oh, the reader. Am I the narrator? Yes, yes. I read it on the audiobook. Yes, I narrated the book. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Good.
I got a little confused there for a minute.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I won't.
Yes. If you get the audio version, you hear me. Yes.
Sweet. All right. Good. So I won't use the tree joke today. That's good. All right. Good. Glad you're reading it. So any parting words to the folks still listening, Maura?
Parting words. I would suggest that people ban the phrase time management, because I think even just talking about time management holds us back. Instead of the phrase time management, start using the phrase attention management. And I think those words have power to put a focus on when you are allowing your attention to be stolen and helping you get back in control and become empowered over your ability to live a life of choice rather than a life of reaction and distraction, which is the ultimate goal of attention management.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guest an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview, so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.